Hello and welcome. Thanks so much for joining me today for Kineo Totara Office Hours. Today we are going to be exploring 2.9 a little bit further. We're going to be taking a look at two of those blocks that we kind of mentioned last week. We are going to kind of take 2.9 in little baby steps. We're going to look at each of the different little features as we kind of go through over the next couple of weeks. There's some really cool features. I kind of did a highlight reel last week. This week, we're going to focus on one particular thing, and then over the next couple of weeks, we'll be focusing on different little features of 2.9 and some of the things you have to look forward to in your system. A little bit about myself. My name is Taylor Craig. I am the platforms consultant here at Kineo. My job includes training our clients, existing, hopeful potentials, all of those good folks, and we go over Totara primarily. That's kind of our primary focus. I'm part of the implementation team, so we make sure that we get you up to speed, get you comfortable with your system, and make sure that you're working effectively on your Totara site. We'll talk a little bit about what office hours are. Office hours, we typically allow only our clients access to these. You have access to the full session. So basically you have access to the 15-minute feature presentation, and then you also have access to ask any questions that you may have. So Q&A time is client time only. We don't post that part on YouTube, but we do post the feature presentation up on YouTube for anybody who needs access to it and needs to be able to see it. So today we're going to talk about two new cool blocks. The first one is called the program completion block. One thing I want to point out, guys, this particular block is a learner-facing block, so it's really, really beneficial for the learner. Not so much maybe for the administrator or staff managers, but really beneficial for the learner and just kind of a nice little shortcut area. And a way for them to just see their progress at a glance. Nice little block there. And then also probably my favorite newest feature to 2.9 is the fact that we now have the ability to put reports just about anywhere. We have what's called the report table block, and you can make it appear anywhere. It does take on those contextual rules that your reports that you may have set for those. So that's really, really a nice feature. So let's take a look at what those look like. We're going to take a look from a couple of different points of view here. We're going to look from the administrator's point of view, a learner's point of view, and we're also going to look from a staff manager's point of view. I'm going to start out looking at this from a learner's perspective. Now, I'm using both of these reports on a dashboard. You don't have to use them necessarily on a dashboard. You may only want to use them, you may want to use them on your front page. You may want to use them down inside of a course. You may want to use them in a variety of different places. What's really nice is that we have our program completions block here, and it just lets me know which programs I'm a part of, which ones I have completed. It kind of shows me my progress, where I am in that course, and then it also lets me have just quick, direct access to that particular program. So I have the ability to actually access that program from that block. So you could place that anywhere, and if the learner is enrolled in any of the programs that are associated with the block, and we'll look at that from an administrator's point of view too, but if you place that anywhere that learner is a part of those particular programs, they're going to be able to see what their progress is in those programs. So kind of a nice little block. It's a new block and just kind of gives people direct access to what it is that they are working in, and they can see their own progress. The next block that we want to take a look at, and like I said, this is my favorite block. This is the reports table block. So in the past, we always had to get to reports by going to the My Reports tab up here. And if you'll remember the My Reports tab, that was contextual, and it really only appeared if I had reports that were available to me. If I didn't have reports that were available to me, then I didn't see that block or that tab. You're still going to see that tab. That tab's not going anywhere unless you choose to turn it off, which you can do that within your main menu. But what you can do now is you can place the reports that are relevant to certain people in different places. Guys, another thing we're going to talk about in in a different session is global reports, which is kind of cool, and that's another way that it's kind of an added addition to restrictions to reports. But we have here, I've just made available to this person a transcript report. So I'm just seeing my own completions as this learner. So I'm seeing where I am in these courses. And again, we can adjust these reports to look however we want them to look from an administrator's point of view. It does take on we've talked in the past a lot about the content and access tabs inside of reports. It does take that on. So if I don't have access to the report and you place this block somewhere for me, I'm just not going to see it, which is also a really nice feature of this because it's not going to leave like a weird blank spot somewhere because you might think that it might do that. And it doesn't do that. If that block doesn't apply to me, I just don't see it. And I don't have to do anything to permissions. I don't have to hide it from anybody. It just takes on those access and control tabs. Okay, so let's take a look at this also from a manager's perspective. So in the manager's perspective, and this is a staff manager, I've actually got two of the report table blocks on here. I've got the My Team report, which we all know is an embedded report, which is generally available only on the My Team tab, right? So I've taken that same exact report, but I'm displaying it somewhere else. So that might be something that's helpful that you can display to your staff managers all the way throughout the site if you wanted to. Guys, another thing I want to point out is each of these have the ability to view the full report. So you can allow them to click that and see that full report. In this case, I do only have one direct report, so that's all I'm going to see. But you can click out, and we'll take a look at the view full report from this perspective because it's going to give us a little bit more. So we'll see here that I have all of the people who report to me, and I've named this block direct and indirect report course completions. Now, I can't really tell who my direct report is and who my indirect report is necessarily, but I do see this particular information. If I wanted to kind of narrow that down a little bit more, I may click to view the full report. And it generally helps if you're logged in. That typically does the trick. Let me get in. Oh, that tricked me. I forgot how to spell. I thought I was logged in and I wasn't. All right, let's see here. I was once upon a time. There we go. So we clicked on View Full Report, and what this did is it brought me to the actual full report where I have access to all of my filters. So if I wanted to narrow it down and really see who my direct reports were, I would do that typically probably through one of these filters. And I don't know if I have it on here, but I know that there is a filter that we can put on there for manager is equal to, and then you could just type in your own name, and then you would see just the people who report directly to you. So there are ways to filter and do different things like that. So something to keep in mind. Now let's take a look from the administrator's point of view real quick, kind of what are the differences here, what's kind of going on, and how did we manage those. So since I have those on my dashboards, I've got two dashboards on this site. I'm going to go over to Site Administration. I'm going to come down here to Appearance, and we're going to click on Dashboards. Again, you don't have to put these blocks on a dashboard. You can allow them to appear anywhere throughout the site. So that's one of the really nice things about it. Let's take a look at this Learner dashboard first, because in this particular dashboard, I did utilize the program completions block. You add these blocks the same exact way you would add any other block. You should be seeing them listed here. One will be called program completion. And let's see here. I already have it out, so I may not be seeing it. Looks like we can only have one instance of program completion, so it's already out there. But this report table block, I can have as many instances of it as I want. So it's kind of like an HTML block in that sense, that I can have as many as I need. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, so let's take a look at this program completions report. So there are a couple of gotchas that I've noticed about this particular block. It is still a really nice block in the fact that you can allow people to have access to it. You can allow them to add it to their pages and stuff like that. But there are just the one gotcha that I have found about this particular one is you do have to click the Add Programs button. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to add those programs manually. So it's not going to automatically come through and pull any of the different programs or anything into this block. So you do have to actually add the programs that you want to appear. Now, one thing you can do, you'll notice that we do have the Show Not Assigned checkbox. So what that means is that I could essentially add every single program that I have on the system and whoever has access to see the block, they would see every single one of those programs, and it kind of gives them a little note up to the side, you're not assigned to this one. But it lets them know it's there. So not necessarily a bad thing. You may want to have some recommended learning or something like that in there where people can at least see what's available. So something to keep in mind as well. You also have the max number of different ones to show. You can make that a setting as well. Okay. You can also give the block a title, and then you can also place a title link so that the title of that block takes them somewhere in particular. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Now let's take a look at that other block, the report table block. So if I come in here and go to configure transcript report block, now I've named it transcript report, and all it is I have a course completion report that I've created and named it transcript. So that's all I did there. That's not a new report, just so you're aware. One thing to note, guys, this is pulling back every single one of my reports that I have in the system. So it's bringing back embedded reports, it's bringing back my custom reports, it's bringing back just about anything that I need access to. And another really cool thing is if you have created saved searches. So for example, we'll just go into that transcript report because I want to show you something that's really neat about this. So if I go to Reports, Report Builder, Manage Reports, and I'm going to right click open in a new tab because I want to stay on the same page because I want to show you something there. So I'm going to go into that transcript report. And again, this was just a report that I made. And we're not going to use that report, sorry, because it doesn't show me everything. Let's just use this one, course completion. That should show me. Perfect. So if I wanted to narrow this particular report down, maybe by searching. So if I want to search by Justin, and I'm going to click search. So that's going to narrow it down to one thing that comes back here. So what I can do then, guys, and this may be something that you haven't noticed, and this is something that you've had the ability to do, is you have the ability to come in and save this search. So I can save it and name it Justin. Again, helps if you can spell. There we go. And I can choose to let other people view this. So if I save those changes, and then say we go back to this report, and I'm going to refresh my screen because I've made some changes in here. And if we grab that particular report, should be in here somewhere. There we go. Course completion. Let's save those changes. I may have. Okay, so that is pulling back everything. Let's go ahead and configure it again because I made some changes. There we go. So what happened there, guys, is I saved it and I didn't save this out and come back. It hadn't caught up with me yet. So now you're going to see here that I have the ability to narrow this down based on a search. So basically what this gives you the ability to do is say you have a course completion report for 3 or 4 different organizations maybe. What you could do is you could go in and you could save multiple searches for each of those organizations and then put those blocks on people's dashboards and then only let them see the at a glance of just their organization, but then give them the ability to view the full report and actually get in and go down to that level. So really some cool stuff that you can do with these 2 blocks. I really like them, and I'm glad that they are now a part of the system. So that is something that you do have to look forward to if you're not already on 2.9. And that's really all I had to show you today. So let me know if you have any questions. I am now going to turn it back over to you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today, and looking forward to seeing you next time.